pretend we're going 200. It'd probably be a miracle if I can reach 50. You can hear everything rattling in this car. All of the road's bad. There's 20. See this dilapidated house back here behind me? That house used to be the home of Mrs. Orcutt. The Mrs. Orcutt lived out in the middle of nowhere. And when they built I-40, it cut off her driveway to Route 66. Route 66 is a couple of miles that way. When they cut off her driveway to build Interstate 40, she broke out her typewriter and she wrote letters to the governor, wrote letters to the president, even wrote letters to the first lady begging for help because it was going to cut off her access to the world. So what did the state of California do? They paved her a 4.1 mile long driveway. That driveway later became the quote unquote secret testing ground for automotive journalists. Road and Track magazine, the great Gail Banks went over 200 miles an hour on Mrs. Orcutt's driveway. It's a legendary piece of automotive history. So do a quick video tour of the home and what's left of it. Now, can you imagine being an automotive journalist in the 70s, 80s, 90s, walking up this driveway to knock on Mrs. Orcutt's front door and ask her for permission to drive up and down her driveway at high rate of speed and test a bunch of vehicles? But one thing curious, Mrs. Orcutt was a bit paranoid. She built gun portals in her home so she could defend herself. Now, Ms. Orcutt's long passed, and the house has gone into a state of ruin, as you can see. The roof is gone. I'm guessing this was her kitchen area, looking at the tile and the plumbing. There you can see the inside of the porthole where she had herself well armed to protect herself from intruders and invasion. This was probably her sink, I'm guessing. And there, got these big picture windows, and you can see Interstate 40 crossing them. The big depression in the ground was where she had a pond built, which is now dry. I wonder if that was one of Mrs. Orcutt's shoes. Mrs. Orcutt was a tiny lady. She was about 4'6", 4'7", but they say she was a pistol. Here you can see more of the home, the skylights, the roof caving in, collapsing. Probably her bathroom. Over here was her bedroom area. Thing just falling apart. But imagine being a journalist, automotive journalist, and walking up to her front door and asking for permission. It's kind of cool to think that many of the journalists we enjoyed reading about were here. She was probably gracious and offered them iced tea. You can almost imagine Gail Banks sitting in her kitchen, drinking a glass of ice water and saying he was about to attempt to drive 200 miles an hour on her driveway, and some of his turbocharged V8, I believe it was a Corvette or Trans Am. I think it was a Trans Am. But anyway, just lost to time now, falling apart. Crazy. Let's walk out to the road. Now, why am I here? Well, This is Goldie, the first Prius I've bought, one that got me hooked on these crazy, reliable economy cars. And I'm making a 2,700 mile drive to hand deliver it to its new owner. Now, our new owner has done a Cannonball. Matter of fact, he's in the record books for doing a double Cannonball solo. So he wishes to remain anonymous, so I won't mention his name, but anyone within the community may have met him, know who he is. We'll just leave it at that. I'm here at the starting point where all those cars would launch from. Let's pretend we're going 200. It'd probably be a miracle if I can reach 50. You can hear everything.